Following AOR livestream is brought to you by the following sponsors: Elgato Gaming, Hype Energy Drinks, Thrustmaster and GT Omega Racing. Hello and welcome back to Apex Online Racing for live coverage of the F1 2018 League with Hype Energy. We are on the PlayStation 4 bringing you all the action from F2, this week coming from Texas and the Circuit of the Americas for the United States Grand Prix. Track opened in 2012, the 3.426 mile circuit became the 11th different track to have hosted an F1 race in the States in the sport's history. With 20 turns and an elevation change of over 130 feet, there is plenty to keep the drivers on their toes tonight. Tyres to hand this evening are the soft, super soft and ultra softs for what is sure to be an exhilarating race around this fantastic and challenging circuit. Now, last week we seen a battle of the Dutch as Sean and Casper battled for the win at Suzuka, with Casper winning on Honda's home soil for Toro Rosso. However, Sean could be crowned champion tonight. Will he do so, and can he do it by taking a victory here this evening? My name is Andy, but thank you very much for joining us, and sorry again for last week's microphone issues. I hope I've got them fixed now. Joining me back in the box this week, in case I do have any problems, is Ollie. Ollie, it's good to have you back. How do you see tonight going? We could crown driver and even constructors champions tonight.
Yeah, from the land of the rising sun to the land of Kentucky Fried Chicken, it's going to be an interesting Grand Prix to say the least. As you mentioned, of course, the fact we can crown some champions here this afternoon could be an interesting addition to what it's looking like is going to be a really good race as well. 19 drivers here this evening, so we've got ourselves, overall, I would say, a pretty exciting show. All eyes on Sean, of course, though, but Casper, can he put a little spanner in the works? Obviously know the H-Eagle, of course, as well. A few fresh faces to add some fresh excitement to the series. I'm excited. I'm imagining you are as well.
Absolutely, as always. I mean, this track has been a really interesting track. It's obviously designed on a number of European tracks. You've got that section through Section 1, which is modelled on the Maggots, Beckett's and section through Silverstone. You've got the back end of the track, you've got that 4 Apex right-hander, which is modelled on Turn 8 at Istanbul. So there's plenty for the drivers to get involved in. One thing that has been mentioned quite a bit that I've seen, though, is in terms of the corner cuts and the warning system here. In some places in the track it's pretty much non-existent when it should be, and in some other places, if you put your wheels off, you're going to get a warning. So it's going to be tricky.
Yeah, I'm for one, I'm hoping that we could see I don't want to say penalties, but when a driver's on a couple of penalties and they know it's a little bit risky, you start to see drivers make little niggly mistakes, which can actually back the pack up quite nicely. We've seen it before where penalties have dictated races and dictated outcomes, and that's not really what you want. What you want is close, intense battling throughout the entirety of the race, and I'm on board with Blizzard, and there's a big old gaggle of cars starting to form as they come down the back straight. They're all starting to bunch up a little bit, trying to find that little bit of space on the track that can give them the perfect qualifying. Cherry 2 Pie's finding the likes of Iamossi and Blizzard quite close to him as well. He'll be hoping to be a good wingman this afternoon, hopefully for Casper, maybe in qualifying a little bit of slipstream between the Dutchman and the lad from Surrey. So we could see some team interplay. Davidos, of course, is after that Constructors' Championship, but will he aid Sean as well? The other thing we have to mention, of course, you mentioned penalties and how they interact through the S's is probably going to be the most difficult one. I mean, we could see some successful penalties, something obviously that Arsenal fans and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang have struggled with. You know, successful penalties for these drivers is not what you want, but for Arsenal is kind of what they're hoping for. But so we'll see what these guys are able to do. My money early on is not on Nico, who's DNF nice and early. He's retired from the session. I believe he's crashed out.
Quite possible, I'm not too sure. We're going to jump on board with Blizzard, and I will say you can spot you're a Spurs fan. Up the hill, in towards turn number 1, down the gears to second, clip the apex nicely and get back on the throttle really quick through turn 2, downhill, no issues through there. And then this is that section, turn 3, 4, 5, 6, the S's. Got to be careful you just don't get it wrong, because that's going to suffer you all the way through and into turn 7, and then up the hill towards turn 8 and 9. It just comes at you one after the other. You've got to be right on the ball ball through there. Next turn here is very easy, nice and simple, but you can get a corner cut through there, and then you want to pick your braking zone, get it into the next corner, because this back straight is over 1 kilometre long. DRS part of the way down it, there is the zone just there now as Blizzard opens up the DRS and heading down towards the end of the straight. Got the left-hander down here at the bottom, look for your braking markers round about the 75 metre mark, down the gears, using all of the curves possible on both the inside and the outside, and then into sector 2, well, the end of sector 2 and sector 3, this tricky infield section. You just got to be very careful, you got to be very careful in the throttle just not to spin the wheels up there through that left-hander, and then you can open up the car a little bit through this one that is modelled on the turn 8 at Istanbul, just going in the opposite direction. Blizzard takes it very well, and then this one is what was catching the drivers out in real life, getting corner cuts at the exit of that. Last corner on the DRS quite early, as soon as you come out, open up the rear wing, power down, cross the line. It's a 1 minute 30.891. It'll be interesting to see how that represents, as Cherry 2 Pie goes straight away to beating it on a 1 minute 30.6, and Karam in the Force India on a 31.8. All of those on the Ultra Soft so far, Ollie.
Yeah, I'm riding on board with Sean, who's just gone through the first section, coming down the back straight now. Going to quickly run you through the tyres though, as we like to have a little second of the second view. Andy keeps an eye on the quick laps. I'll keep an eye on some of the more lesser points that you might not notice. So the tyre choices, Lee Findlay is the only guy who's gone onto the yellow striped soft compound tyres, with red striped softs for Johan and Jundu. Everybody else has decided to go on the purple walled ultra soft tyres. Cherry 2 Pie still top. Rubens promoted himself up into third. Johan in fifth. McGrady's now gone up into P2. So these times are going to chop and change, but Sean is the guy you want to keep a close eye on. You mentioned how this track, of course, is modelled on so many classic Europeans. I wish we had Turkey back, but the opposite side is that long streaking right hand that seems to go on and on with multiple apexes. I'd love to see that track return on the calendar, but Sean has just completed that. He comes through the final corner, a mild sunset in the way of his visor. He's going to come through, and he's going to come around the final corner across the line, and Sean only gets up into P9. Not good enough just yet. Obviously we are aware P6 is pretty much the aim here, but anything higher than that, as you would expect with Sean, it's going to result in success. I think ideally we can agree, Andy, we'd like for him to get on the podium so he can join the Winners' Championship. Will definitely as well if it's success for the two of them.
Definitely so, yeah. Sean, just to go through the standings, he's on 254 points. The H-Eagle is still second on 186, with Casper in third on 172. Now the H-Eagle obviously is not here again this week. This is the second week off his holidays. We do hope he is enjoying them. But what it does mean is if Sean aims for at least a P6, it would require Casper finishing first or second to take it into Mexico, and even then you're still talking a 69 to 71 point lead for the Ferrari driver. So it is more a case of when rather than if for the Dutchman. And in terms of the constructors, if Ferrari outscore Sauber by 19 points, then it will be all over as well. But as you say, it would be lovely if he is going to clinch it tonight to do so on the podium, so that we can have him in the conversation later on for the interviews after the race without having to give him an additional invite. But it is looking likely. But Casper done a brilliant job last week at Suzuka. He qualified on the alternate strategy, if you were joining us, put himself up into the lead when everyone pitted, came out just behind Sean after the pit stop phase, and then made a lovely move into turn 1 as he got the better of the Ferrari driver on that occasion. Sean still took second position, and I was having a look earlier. Apart from, I think it's 3 or 4 races, one of them which was a DNF, well, I did not start, sorry, for Hungary, Sean has finished in the top 6 in every other race apart from 3. So it's looking very likely.
As the old saying goes, consistency is key, and it's definitely on display there from Sean. Top 6 is pretty much all season. Is pretty impressive, to be fair, not dropping down. There's been a few moments where we've probably both agreed that Sean hasn't looked great in qualifying. Hockenheim was one where that infamous incident with Cherry 2 Pie that was putting him on edge throughout the remainder of the season for black flags. I mean, it would almost be the most Sean thing ever if he got another penalty that could potentially get him kicked out of the league this weekend. It would just sum up Sean perfectly. Great success, maybe win a championship, but then gets black flag from the season. So, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But that's one of the criticisms Sean has received, of course, is that driving style and racing can be a little bit iffy. But if he wins this series, he will be going up into F1, and that's a completely different kettle of fish. You've got about 5 or 6 Seans up there who do not care and will get their elbows out nicely and give it the old left-right if you know what I mean. Just a little cheeky one. But Cherry 2 Pie on the top step at the moment is, I would say, surprising, but this is actually the third time Cherry 2 Pie has been at the top of timings. He got a pole position in Canada, of course. He also received a pole position at Singapore, where he had that infamous battle that seemed to go on and on. It was a strange one with Keyski, where we didn't know what was going to happen. It comes down to penalties in the end, because Cherry 2 Pie picked up some damage on his front wing as well. That was a chaotic Grand Prix as well, but I still think we could see some interesting conditions. I still think there's going to be a few guys that are going to change their tactics around, and we're going to see some quicker laps coming in pretty shortly. McGrady has just come out of the pits. Cherry 2 Pie is on his outlap as well. So a lot of these guys, we still haven't seen laps from Ash, Casper, Joglar, Tactician, and Sean down to 34.1. You know that's not going to be his quickest time. So there's definitely some drama still to come with just over 9 minutes to go.
Number one, which was Canada. I don't remember when the second one was, but he's proven himself in qualifying a couple of times, but can't very been completely by when it comes to race results has Cherry 2 Pie, so we're hoping to change that here this evening. I did see he put a message in the chat saying he's got a date at 9:30, whether that's true or not, who knows. But last week he was out the race pretty early due to an incident with Jundu at Suzuka, which we didn't catch on the stream, unfortunately. But he'll be hoping to get further than a couple of laps into this race. But a few people already dropping into the chat. I did notice that Casper popped in the weather. It's going to be a dry race under light clouds. Luigi saying Ayamotti is Italian. Yes, he is indeed. Someone shouting out for Johan, who's joined in as a reserve. Where is he at the moment? He's in 8th position in the Force India. And we've got Billy O'Connor in there saying hi as well. So we've got quite a few people joining in to the chat as Ash, who won round number 1, remember, at Melbourne, chucks it into the pole position for the moment with a 30.604. He stays right out of the way of that Mercedes that was coming through as Cherry 2 Pie stays out of the way of cars. Here comes McGrady across the line. Can he improve in his time? He's unable to do so, as that's just him starting actually on his outlap. So we're now into that second run phase, Ollie, where drivers are going to start ramping it up, obviously going to start pushing it a bit more. As you say, we're still to see proper times off for Sean, Casper, Joglar and Tactician. Sean has set a lap, but 3.5 seconds down. We know that the Dutchman is a much quicker driver than that, as Casper's coming through Sector 1 just now. He's going to be looking to do very well round this qualifying lap. I want to give actually a wee shout out to Sean as well, because he actually graduated this week as well. So congratulations to him on his graduation, and I'm sure he'd love to wrap it off for the title here tonight as well.
Yeah, the champagne will be flowing, or the wine, depending on whatever the bottles are he drinks. A few rumours he's an alcoholic. I wouldn't go that far, but Sean could, yeah, as you said, top it off completely. He's just started a lap. He let Jundu through the final corner, and now he's got some clean air as the grey clouds start to linger around here in Texas. We've had torrential rain in the past, of course, in Formula 1 around this circuit. Get your paper boats out and get the Wellingtons on if I was you, because I was, when it rains it pours around here. But now as Sean just comes around the back straight now, he's done the first sector quite well. The S's took it nice and smoothly on his warm-up lap. In fact, he was taking it nice sharp turns just to get them tyres up the temperature. As you come down this long back straight, it's probably going to be the key overtaking opportunity as they come into this sharp braking zone. The corner's actually incredibly wide, and you can actually fit 3, maybe even 4 cars through there. So hopefully on lap 1 we could see some tight battling. Coming up to now this long left-hander where you can take 3 or 4 lines. For me, this is one of my favourite corners to actually drive on this game. It's just such a difficult one where you just, any line, it just depending on what you're feeling, you can get 3 or 4 cars through there as well. It's a nice wide track as Tactician goes to the top step there. Coming through the penultimate corner now, an unsighted left-hander. You can maximise that exit if you take enough curbing, and onto the exit of the curb you get that nice bit of power early on the acceleration for Sean now as he comes through the final corner, and he does improve, sorry. He's only at 33. Casper mentioned in the chat that he could be sandbagging. Now that would be a bit of an assumption of Sean, but do you reckon he's sandbagging early on here, Andy?
And he's still not set time, so they're able to set what representative lap time for the at the moment. And we know that they're up towards the front, obviously not championship lead at the moment without being quick. Oh, Bindu getting sideways there, coming out to the one head down towards the long back straight. But it's the pad tactician at the moment who is at the top of the standings. 1 minute 35. I was just checking my microphone, saying that was a little bit. Hopefully I'm not. Didn't sound like I quickly turned it up there, but he's only. You can see how close they are. And if you go all the way down to 13th, which is VP Battle Rate, 9 times cover the field, and that's been a bit of a theme this season that we've seen, Ollie, especially when you get into that midfield battle. It has been tight, it has been close, it's been exciting all year long. Slowly somewhere along the line. Let's see what's going on in the stream. I do apologise for this. Okay, so hopefully the lagging has disappeared. You will just hear it probably fair back. Volume turned up to hear it. Hopefully the lagging has disappeared. You will just hear it. Ah, getting.
I think your mic is going, but if you can sort it out, we'll just keep a close eye on it. I think mine's working okay, so if you just, I'll just run you through. But I think, from what I could tell of what Andy was saying, I think he was mentioning about the midfield battle. I think that's what Andy was talking about. While he sorts it out, we'll quickly run you through the standings at the moment. It's Tactician who is top from Ash, who previously mentioned, of course, by Andy, that at Melbourne picked up that first race victory. It was almost a season of what if with Ash. We all thought he might have a really successful time here and maybe push on and have a championship push, but it just never meant to be, or it never seemed like he got going after Melbourne. Maybe this weekend he can bring back some of that early fire that he had in the early stages of the season. You've got Johan coming out now. Cherry Tupai is going through the first sector. Tactician staying in the pits. Kieski's out nice and early as he comes through the final corner now. So Kieski's one of the first guys to come across the line. Sean's leaving it late. So too is Casper. So the two guys who we want to keep a close eye on might have to make their way through the field, and that could create some interesting drama. The Red Bull of Tactician has just exited the pits as Kieski has come through the first few corners, I believe. It might not actually been. It was a Red Bull. That's all we need to know. Kieski's going to be the first guy though to come across the line in these last batch, just over 2.5 minutes. The man who picked up his one and only race victory in Singapore is now going to try his very, very best to try and up that pace and get going here in this first sector. It feels like it goes on for quite a long time, whereas Maggots and Beckett's is nice and quick, and Japan is technical and you feel like you've got a lot of pace, but you're just guiding that car through. Around here you get a weird blend of pace that just slowly just feels like it's going on, and that's quite a difficult skill to have as a driver. Because if you're going through these corners and it goes on forever, you can almost feel like you're pressured into making a little adjustment, a little movement, keeping it nice and calm and nice and smooth through corners like that, especially at circuits like Spa as well, is actually a very difficult skill to master if you're a driver. So a good little job there from Kieski as he's made his way through the back straight into this grandstand section to the final few corners. He looks to be on a pretty clean lap at the moment. He's got about 3 attempts to find if he wants to be on par with Tactician in these early stages. He will be able to get another lap in. He won't be able to cruise in and for another out lap and then go again to get them tyres up. So Kieski giving the first of these final flying runners to come across the line, and he's actually darted into the pit. So Kieski is going to call it a day there. He'll be in P7, but that could well change. There's a few guys to keep an eye on. We'll check with Andy if his mic is back and working. I think it might be.
I hope it is. How does it sound?
Yeah, that's much better. That's much
right,
better. I muted myself and I muted myself and listened to the stream, just trying to see if it was working or not, and then it come back to see it work.
Casper puts it onto pole, so Casper puts it into pole position, and to keep this working at the moment, I think I've figured it out. It's the jack in my microphone. I'm currently holding the controller about 3 feet above my bed. That's how I'm sitting. I'm going to have to do that for the next hour if I'm going to try and hope for this works. So there we go. But yeah, Casper finally gets a lap in the books on the Ultra Sauce. 1 minute 30.4, leaving it very, very late indeed. He has managed to put himself into pole position. So now it's a case of what can Sean do? He's coming through that final sector just now. He's on an out lap, I believe, at the moment. So he's still lining up. Look at this traffic jam. There's a Haas and a Toro Rosso up ahead. He's had to back out of that one there to hold on, just to keep the space. so he can try one more. You can see there's 5 cars up ahead of Sean there at the moment, so that's not going to be the easiest of laps for him, especially if some of them get caught up in amongst each other. But Casper's put it on pole position at the moment. Tactician a 10th down in the Red Bull. He's just coming through the final sector just now. We'll see if the Red Bull runner can improve on his lap time there as the checkered flag comes out. Obviously we know Kiski's already finished. He's already dropped down to 9th. Rubin's retired from the session. Yellow flag up ahead somewhere, so maybe he's crashed it out as Tactician improves on his time, but he stays second on the grid, 6/100ths of a second down on pole position. We're just going to scroll through and find who's the next one heading for the line. McGrady, we just missed there, sneaking under the radar. He's now on pole position, 5/100ths clear off Casper's pole position time. Ash coming through, Davidos on a lap, Cherry Tupai coming down the back straight. Johan at the moment is coming into the final cut the corners. He's ran a little bit wide there into the second last corner, coming through the final corner now. Can this be an improvement on his debut in P7? It's pole position at the moment from the Force India, a 1:30.2. Brilliant lap time there from the Frenchman there as Cherry Tupai's coming through the final sector now. Ash is coming through. I'm just trying to find out who's next. Cherry Tupai does have a car ahead of him. I'm not sure who it is. There's a few cars up ahead, but one's going into the pit lane. Comes through the final corner, does the Toro Rosso. Can he improve on his lap time? He's 7th at the moment, and it's pole position for Cherry Tupai, a 1:30.222. So it's all changing like a fruit machine at the moment. Ash is the next one to head for the finish line. Him, Davidos and Sean are still out there. Sean's actually finished and is only 12th on the grid. Ash doesn't improve on 6th place, so he's going to start from there. Davidos is coming to the line now. He's going to be the last one, and he heads for pit lane. So Cherry Tupai takes his 3rd pole position of the year. Johan on his debut, 3/100ths down in 2nd, and Sean will be starting from P12, championship leader on the day that he could win the title, outside the top 10, Ollie.
Yeah, but the interesting thing with Sean there is he had the super softs fitted when he set his fastest time, which is, for me, I'm finding that a little bit strange. So maybe he's got a tactic in mind. Maybe he's going to go for them longer runs, which was in the likes of Casper do so successfully in the past. But let's quickly run you through the qualifying classifications here in Texas. It is the boy from Surrey and Cherry Tupai on 30.2, who sits on pole with Johan in 2nd. McGrady 3rd, Casper in 4th. Not just where he needs to be just yet, but he's still got a very good chance of picking up that top spot or even 2nd place that he desperately needs. Tactician in 5th with Ash in 6th. Davidos in 7th. 8th for Blizzard. Joglar is in 9th. Kiski in 10th. Mossy 11th. Sean, championship leader, in 12th. 13th is Karam. 14th Ruben. Jundu in 15th. Vettel in 16th. Pasty 17th. Lee Findlay 18th, and in dead last with no time after DNFing after just 2.5 minutes. Well, that would well be Nico.
You make it sound like it's something that happens every other week there, so you did there, Ollie. But yeah, super sauce for that run was quite an interesting one from Sean. If I remember rightly from last week in the interview, he left quite abruptly afterwards because he wasn't too chuffed at his performance. He thought he could have won. He made a couple of mistakes, and he did mention that this track, no, he doesn't mind it, but it's not one of his favourites, so maybe he's trying to play the long game here, knowing that P6 will on most occasions, unless Casper's in the top 2, be enough. So maybe he's playing that long game possibly. It'd be interesting to see what tyres he starts on. I'd imagine probably the super softs, or maybe even the softs. It's certainly not going to be ultra softs. Anyone outside the top 10 starting on ultras, I would be very surprised indeed to see that. But it's going to be an interesting race. You had an almighty amount of joy at the start before we even got going of reminding me that I am losing badly in our prediction chat. Go on, picking.
Well, it's 11-6, and it looks like it's completely wrapped up. And if I have to pick somebody, I think we should have a gentleman's agreement. Let's not pick Sean, because that's the obvious one. I could pick Sean, and it'd probably be likely. But I think we can agree Sean's probably going to end up within the top 6. He's got a bit of a history there. But I'm going to say, see, I have not seen Karam race yet, so I can't comment on him. And Johan surprised me, to be fair, going up in P2 on his debut. Lee Findlay down in 18th is a very interesting one that you got to keep. And then Ruben in 14th. But for sheer numbers, because 18th to 1st is a much more sizable gap than 14th to 1st, I'm going to go Lee Findlay.
You stole my pick again, you absolute, you know what. Lee done well last week.
I didn't notice it. I didn't notice him until I was like, oh, Lee, what? What's he doing? I thought it was Ash to begin with. No offense to Ash, but.
The thing is as well though, last week at Suzuka, Lee was quite far down the order as well. He finished in P3. Finished on the podium with something better, if I remember correctly, with penalties. He started down, I think, 14th last week, so he would have been pretty chuffed for that, so it's a good pick. Since he's at the back of the grid, we do know he's got some pace. I'm going to go with Nico, just purely because I have to go with something that's going to try and get me a win here. And obviously if we're leaving Sean out of the equation, then that's something that's going to have to do. So I'm going to go with Nico, because we do know he's got some good pace in that car, so hopefully he can prove me right and I've not cursed him. Obviously the top 10 all starting on ultra soft. I am Otti there. Red Cara in the hat, which is a very different choice from outside the top 10. Ruben, do the two Mercedes for the Super and Nico, our two choices, are on the soft tyres, so expect them to go long into the race before making their pit stops. But we're coming around the final cut of the corners now, on board with the front wing camera of Cherry 2 Pie as he heads up towards that pole position, looking up that 130-foot incline up towards turn 1 as he slowly rolls into his grid slot and awaits for everyone else to line up. This is Apex Online Racing's F1 2018 League. It is season 16, round 19 of the season, and we're for the start off this evening's race. 5 red lights, and we're here, and looks like you might have got to start to cover off Force India quite aggressively there at the end, and a little bit of contact in the middle. We're going 5 wide through turn 1. Ashbest in the middle yet Casper's in there as well. Car across the track coming through. That's Blizzard going to go around the outside of Tactician as they come up to the SI1 through there. There's a car off the track there on the sideways. There's a McLaren, a Lee Finley going side by side with what I believe to be Karam in the Haas there, going through that SE section, and left, right and centre, and Karam's managed to get that place back off Lee Finley. Oh, contact in the middle of that as well. We were on board there with Karam and he just ended up pushed wide, and there's a Mercedes going up inside the one of the Salvas. So that will be Ruben on Vettel Racer as they come down the back straight. He's held the lead. McGrady's in second, Johan in third, Casper in fourth, Ashbest fifth, Blizzard up 2 places to 6, Tactician down 2 places and Ash moved up into Johan up to Ash back as Blizzard out all over the place at the moment in sector 2 as we try to go through everything that's going on, and I think Ash has got damage on that McLaren. Johan might as well did see but he's carrying on, and there goes pick, and there goes me getting traction once there. That was a frantic start there.
Yeah, it was. If there was any interference with Andy's mic, then that was it was only brief, but I think it just keeps jumping in and out, just so you're aware. So see if you can maybe, I know there's a few moments like at the start where it just started to crackle, but I kept an eye there on Sean further down. He actually had a very good start. He got himself into P10 as he makes his way up the inside of Ash there. He's got himself up into P9 now. A lovely manoeuvre from Sean, but he got himself up nicely into P10 just behind Davidos, who was in P9, and then he went for a move on Davidos and just slightly lost it. Davidos going side by side with the Force India just up ahead there of Johan. He's got the move done. Lovely overtake there from Davidos to sneak round up into P7, but as I was saying, Sean went for a move on Davidos. Davidos didn't see him, corrected it through the S's, clipped him, and then Sean got swamped by the Force India and the Haas, the Sauber, and it was chaos. And then he got back past both of the cars, and it's just been chaos really for Sean, who's now got his way that Force India, who really dropped like a stone from P2 all the way down to P9 there. Obviously, you mentioned the damage, I believe, and it looks like Cherry 2 Pie is being hunted down slightly by McGrady and co behind Casper in P3. I think there may be some team orders. If Casper gets up past McGrady, then Cherry 2 Pie would probably be in his best interest to let his teammate go, as he can still battle for a championship. But maybe Cherry 2 Pie has a point to prove. He missed out on the chance at Canada, he missed out on the chance at Singapore. His third pole position could well lead to a race victory this afternoon here in Texas. I don't believe there's a chance of rain, but there are just a few little grey clouds popping up here and there, so maybe that can have a little spanner in the works as well. No sign of team order between Davidos and Sean at the moment as things are going, but with Joglar in P5 for the Sauber team, the outscoring could well be very tight between these two, but I'm not sure if that's going to come into play too much, because Davidos and Sean are absolutely flying at the moment. It is Cherry 2 Pie from McGrady and Casper after lap 3, but McGrady is very close to Cameron and Cherry 2 Pie there.
Definitely so. DRS now enabled, of course, at the start of lap 3, and Davidos still just ahead of Sean at the moment. Yes, he's hoping that third time's a charm. Race victory, as you say, 2 pole positions earlier on this year, couldn't convert them into race wins. Third time possibly here in Texas, he'll be trying his best, but McGrady is right on the rear wing of that Toro Rosso, and with DRS enabled, you imagine this could be a bit of a slam possibly. I'm sure Cherry's got the battery turned up, but look at the Haas closing in ever quickly. Cherry goes inside to defend, comes back just to the braking line a little bit so he can just slow down, but gives McGrady the space, holds the position for now. McGrady tries to go up around the outside here and then cut back into the right hander through this tricky infield section. Cherry's having to defend with all he can at the moment. Managed to hold on behind, drop down and see what happened to the German Grand Prix winner, but that is the second retirement from the race already, and it puts a yellow flag in the sector. A bit of a train coming up behind. Look at this, Joglar, Davidos, Sean, Tactician, all over the back of the Sauber. Joglar struggling there, Davidos pulling to the inside. In fact, out of the session, that car is ghosting, so that's why they were all getting confused. And Sean goes up the inside of his teammate, and I'm sure that would have been a little bit of team orders there, but that wasn't on the cards. Tactician follows Sean through, so that's definitely not what he was looking for. Got a yellow flag up in somewhere. McGrady off track. McGrady off the track in sector 1. And can't find him now. He's dropping through the field like an absolute stone. There he is, getting back on track. So he's spun through sector 1 somewhere. That puts Casper up into P2, Blizzard into 3rd, and Sean up into 4th position at the moment, which if it was to finish like this, that would be enough for the championship for the Dutchman, because Casper needs to win the race, but it is his teammate in front of him. Inside of Cherry coming down the back straight. Don't think there's going to be too much drama there, and that puts Casper into the position he needs. Cherry nearly ran into the back of his teammate there. Blizzard looking on. McGrady's left the session, so he's now DNF number 3 for the evening. Unsure quite what happened there, but that was very interesting stuff going on. We've seen obviously Sean getting by Davidos. Tacticians followed him through as well, but Casper now leads from Cherry 2 Pie, with Blizzard now up in the 3rd as McGrady drops out of the race.
Yeah, I caught a little, but the thing was I was riding on McGrady to keep a close eye on what happened. I literally looked down for 2 seconds, I look up and McGrady's gone. But I think Cherry 2 Pie and McGrady have made contact, and I'm not sure who's to blame. I dare say we'll see it at the stewards' inquiry, because one of the drivers involved seems to be a big fan of the stewards, as you could say. But yeah, it's a big shame for McGrady, because he was showing great pace. But for Casper and Cherry 2 Pie, whether it was team orders or the fact that Casper was just much quicker and got past him after the little incident, we'll have to wait and see. But Casper is up into the top spot, with Davidos in 6th place, with Sean in 4th, meaning at this current state, of course, the championships will be wrapped up and it will be a double dose of excitement for the Ferrari boys. So we'll keep a close eye on what they're able to do. Blizzard is hunting them down, and we've mentioned, of course, Andy, in the past, how we've expected so much from Blizzard, and he's not really delivered. But he normally runs assists, racing line, ABS, and he's really showing up here this afternoon. He's just pushed Cherry 2 Pie through the through the entrance of this long back straight. Cherry 2 Pie has got DRS, but Blizzard is the much superior driver as they come down this long back straight. Heavy braking. Who's going to brake later? Very late from the two of them, almost running into the rear end of Casper. Front lock-up brakes. Front wheel lock up there from Cherry 2 Pie and Blizzard, but Blizzard gets the manoeuvre done. Cherry 2 Pie now trying to barge his way through here. He's going to come to the outside line. I don't think Cherry 2 Pie is going to be able to get round here. Now he's going to try and stick it, but no. The manoeuvre is done, and Blizzard moves up into P2. Next up for him is Casper, who leads the Grand Prix.
Definitely so. Further back, though, Ash and Kieski are still battling out over 8th and 9th. Lee Finley's made himself 8 places already, up into P10 from starting down in 18th position. So these guys are having a bit of a battle as well. We also as we were watching what was going on. I can see someone mentioned that in the comment. We try our best to follow everything as possible and try to give everyone as much screen time as they can do. Davidos comes into pit lane, so that's obviously going to release everyone else to move up a few positions. He puts the soft tyres on now as Cherry 2 Pie seems to be just dropping a little bit from the back of Blizzard. That's going to please the Renault driver, I'm sure. Meanwhile, Kiski and Lee Finlay having a battle coming out of turn 1 down towards the SE section. The Renault driver able to hold on for just now. This lovely overhead shot through the SE section, and you see Ash just up ahead as well in the other McLaren, so Kiski in a McLaren sandwich at the moment. You can see Karam just behind as well in the pass, and then Ayamote in the Red Bull as Karam, as I speak about him, picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. We've got a nice wee train here going through from P7 through to P12 with Jundu, so we'll need to keep an eye on this battle as it goes on. We jump back to the front briefly because Cherry 2 Pie has got Sean diving down the inside really late in the brakes there. Somehow got it slowed down, but Cherry 2 Pie make back through. Meanwhile, Kiski Ash into that corner. That looked like a nice little overtaking move as well, and that puts the Renault through and up into 7th place if he can hold on. Ash has now got his teammate Lee Finlay in behind looking to take that place off of him, and he bumps into his teammate. Karam's going to try and take advantage of this now and sneak up the inside. Unable to late in the brakes there. In fact, Cherry's seen it coming as he's now into pit lane as well as Cherry, but Sean really late in the brakes here. Not the kind of move you'd expect for someone who's got the championship on the line today.
Yeah, I think Sean struck the fear of God into Cherry 2 Pie, who I don't think is very religious, but Jesus Christ, he struck more fear into him than the nun, and he's really put a show on there. And Sean has got the manoeuvre done, but he's definitely scared Cherry 2 Pie into the pit lane. Blizzard and Casper are battling. I mentioned there about Sean how quickly he was gaining. Cherry 2 Pie was really struggling on his tyres. He dropped back so far. Blizzard and Casper, you can actually see the gap where Sean is now. That's mostly but Cherry 2 Pie is built up. Casper versus Blizzard now is actually a really exciting battle between two very quick and very young and aggressive drivers, and aggressive in the best way possible. They're both desperate to pick up wins, and Casper would love to make it back to back here, even if it may mean that Sean wraps up the championship. Casper has probably been, I think for many people, driver of the series. He's really picked it up late, and I do think it's been a bit disappointing for him that he's only just now started to pick up his pace in the latter stages of the season. If he'd have been like this at the very beginning, I think we both agree, Sean may well have had a run for his money, but Casper is having to defend against a Renault driver who's starting to show a little bit of pace now as he's learning these no assist rules of AOR, and the F2 tier has got some very quick and competitive drivers, so much so that you've got some really quick guys further down the grid. The highest of the runners on the fresh set of the soft compound tyres is Cherry 2 Pie as expected. He's got Davidos just 1.2 seconds behind him as Casper peels into pit lane, leaving Blizzard to lead this Grand Prix. Sean has also stayed out, 2.5 seconds to Blizzard ahead of him. Let's see where Casper comes though, because I'm imagining he's going to come relatively tight to where Cherry 2 Pie and Davidos are. Them two have just come through the final few corners now. Casper has parked up and got out. In fact, I think is Casper stuck? No, Casper, I think, had to stay in for maybe a stop go. No, he's got going again, and I believe Casper, yeah, he has. He's going to come out clearly ahead of Cherry 2 Pie. Just a little bit of lag there. I got worried for Casper. Maybe picked up a time penalty or there's something with glitch. But no, he's up into the top spot again. Cherry 2 Pie is in a net P2 with Blizzard and Sean still yet to pit. That could well change, but 2.6 seconds between Casper and Cherry 2 Pie kind of gives us a rough indication of where everyone's going to be, which makes you think Sean could, if he really gets his foot down, and the cold tyres of Casper, Sean and Blizzard could well jump the Toro Rossos here, so it could be a bit of a disaster for the two of them, because it looks like the overcut is a little bit, the undercut can be a little bit questionable, and the overcut can be a bit more pacey because of how long it can take to get heat into the soft compound.
Trying to keep going. There's been an Ash pulled into pit lane, but we're just been on it out lap after lap. Ayamote, Jundu, Karam, Lee Finlay has managed to get a wee bit clear of them now. Ash before he pitted as well. They've just been battling all the way through, and it's been really good battling. Meanwhile, as Blizzard comes into pit lane, in the chat you can see Cherry helped me. Ooh, wonder where that one might end up. We'll soon see at the end of the race how that one finishes. well on those. Ferrari driver possibly to cover off Casper. He knows he needs to be jump on board. About 3 seconds.
I believe short of. Sorry, I believe Andy, your mic is starting to go again. It's starting to jip a little bit, so I'm just going to have to apologise, but you have to intervene and apologise to anyone. I've just checked the stream. I wanted to make sure it wasn't just me, but I think your mic is starting to go, so we'll just see if we can quickly sort that out. But while that's going on, Casper has got out ahead of Blizzard, who has come into the pits. Cherry 2 has promoted himself back up into a net P3 after pitting a little bit earlier than Sean, but Sean will have much fresher tyres, in fact 2 lap fresher tyres. His teammate Davidos is just a little bit behind him, and Davidos, who will be on much warmer tyres compared to his teammate in that Ferrari, will be trying to hunt him down potentially, but they'll see the bigger picture. I imagine they'll try and cunt down Cherry 2 at the same time. It could well be awaiting a penalty, as mentioned by Andy, the comment by McGrady about the Cherry 2 incident. The stewards may well have their say on that. Cherry 2 frequent visitor, you could say. In terms of piloting, you get frequent flyer miles. Cherry 2 has got frequent stewarding miles. He's a long-term guest down at the British Airways lounge for the stewards and the inquiries lounge. He loves it down there. But Casper leads, Blizzard second, Cherry 2 in a net third. Obviously, you've got Lee Findlay, Kieski and co. all still to come into the pits. That's your net top 3. And I believe we have the monotone voice of Andy back with us.
Monotone? I can only apologise for it. I can't do anything at the moment too much with this mic, but it is something that once the season's finished, I'm going to try and resolve as best. Unfortunately, money's tight, so I can't go out and buy a new one. Unfortunately, at the moment, we did see Lee Findlay, while Ollie was talking, make his way past Kieski for the lead off this race. Kieski's made those ultra softs go 9 laps already, so making him go a very, very long way indeed as Jundu and Ayamoto come through as well. Casper is closing up to him very quickly indeed, with Blizzard not too far behind Cherry and Sean. It could be another round of these ones. You did say he put the fear of God into him possibly with that move a couple of laps ago. Let's see if he fancies repeating it one more time. Cherry's going to have not going to have DRS available, so this should be a little bit easier for the Ferrari driver to make way through. He moved no, can't be. It don't. And like that is free pedal.
Yeah, well, I think Andy's mic has just gone again, which is yeah, I feel like this is kind of summing up. I feel like Andy's predictions are now coming through to fruition with his microphone, but there was little blips of moments where you could hear Andy. So I'm hopefully if you are watching the stream and it does happen, please just let us know, and we will. Yeah, Big C's just popped in and said it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to try our very best to sort this out and get it done. We'll cut to Andy. It does come in blips and dashes, you could say, and it comes and goes, but Blizzard is hunting down Casper for a net race lead at the moment, and he is really keeping an eye on that Toro Rosso. The Dutchman has really been hunted down by Blizzard as things currently stand. Cherry 2 was leading this Grand Prix in the early stages, but after an incident where he is apparently taken out McGrady, it now leaves him down in the net P4. Blizzard going up the inside and just thinks better of it. and just avoids Casper's car there. It's getting very tight between these two, and with Jundu just under a second ahead of them, this could actually get very tasty, because if Casper gets a DRS, it could elongate things. We're only on lap 11 of 28 as things currently stand. The top three of it to pit. I say that Kieski has come into the pits. He's the first of which to do so. Lee Findlay and Jundu will lead us away. Casper moving himself onto the net P3. He's going to try and get past Jundu and put a car in between himself and Blizzard. The Finn, the Dutchman, and the Brit. It's some form of Narnia Chronicle, this one. It can only end in one thing, and hopefully it won't be tears. Let's see what the Toro Rosso can do as it comes through the S section now. Just slowly hunting down the Mercedes of Jundu, who had a bit of a lacklustre season himself. He'll be hopefully trying to improve upon next year. We could see him in F2. We may see him drop down into another tier. He needs to really pick up his pace, and he's not really had much luck on his side either. He's one of them guys, along with Pasty as well, who's not really got going as you would have hoped and expected from him. As the crosswinds start to form on this track, you're also going to see crossing of the track hopefully very, very shortly. Try and switch it around, a quick switch manoeuvre from Casper here. He's going to switch it up to the inside here, side by side with Jundu. He makes easy work of that. It looks like he's going to be late on the brakes. He's broke later, Jundu. Blizzard looked to go for a little lunge there, and he backed out of it, and Blizzard has got past Jundu as Casper squeezes his way through. So that putting a car in between them has really not worked out. In fact, all this has done is allow the current championship leader and a provisional world champion of F2 just get a little bit closer and make it the perfect week for him. A graduation, a world championship, and a race victory. Well, I can't really think of it could go much better than that if you're racing in the esports scene. Maybe driving a real Formula 1 car could be up there, but that's hearsay. You know, that's nothing. No one really cares about that. You want your pad and you want your PS4 to work full time. That Casper versus Blizzard looks like it's going to go on for quite a significant amount of time. We have got Andy back. I said monotone voice last time. We said the sound of a battered Mars bar just being digested over and over. That's the sort of sound I want to hear from Andy now.
I hate that. I do not like that. Just something that I do not enjoy at all. Hopefully it's going well. I can only apologise for it. I'm trying my absolute best to stay as still as possible. So that seems to be the only way my microphone seems to work. But yeah, Sean has made himself up into 4th position, and obviously a podium's good enough for him, and at the moment he is in a net P3. Meanwhile, out in front is Lee Findlay, but he's only 3.5 seconds clear at the moment. If he was to pit, he would probably rejoin around about P10, P11. But Joglar has jumped into the lobby while his car's still technically on track, to say that the entire lobby's been a bit laggy, so that's probably what's not helping us either, even though I do have some known microphone issues, unfortunately. Casper doing his absolute best to keep Blizzard behind. You were saying obviously earlier, Ollie, about how Blizzard is starting just as the races go on to show more and more of that potential that we know he is capable. He had a really good race in Russia, remember, trying to chase down Sean, especially in the wet conditions, and he's now trying to chase down Casper for what is the lead of this race once Lee Findlay finally decides to peel into pit lane. I don't expect to see him pitting for another few laps or two just yet, so keep an eye on that. Blizzard trying up the hill. He's not going to be close enough, gets close under braking, but just the concertina effect there having its way as Cherry Tupai looks to the back of Jundu now for what would be P5, P4 overall once Lee is pitted. And down the field, Dawidoff still trying to, he's now in the middle of a Red Bull sandwich. A tactician in between them, so that's 8th and 9th. Meanwhile, Vettel Racer and Karam are having a wee bit of a ding dong. As you see there, the Haas driver just flying through as Vettel managed to get through up the inside under braking. That's been going on for a few laps, so we'll need to keep an eye on those guys as well as they continue their battle. But we're going to come back up to the front because Sean's nearly got himself within DRS range on Blizzard, who's right behind Casper. Obviously Casper's got no DRS assistance, but can the Renault get close enough? He's not doing enough at the moment to get close enough into the braking zone. He'll have to back away. Meanwhile, Cherry Tupai slips up the inside there to Jundu. DRS assisted. A nice little move there from the Toro Rosso, and you can see there the Red Bull Ferrari sandwich just behind as well, and it should been in this league. First down to 9th for a separated by just under 10 seconds. We've said that many times this season, Ollie, about just how close these drivers are in this league and how it brings up some brilliant racing.
Yeah, you normally find yourself with some the top. I'd say there's a top 3, top 4. You've got Sean, you've got Casper, you've probably got the H Eagle, and you've got, I'd say, Lee Findlay up there as well. That's your top 4, and then everyone else is so close. Every week you can trade who's going to be maybe on that final podium spot. You've got Ayamotti, and you've got Davidos, you've got Tactician who's been up there, Kiski with a race win, Vettel has been up there quite a lot, Joglar's had his moments, Nico Rubin who have DNF, McGrady of course, Ash winning at Melbourne. Literally anyone and everyone has had a podium this season, and you see Cherry 2 getting 3 pole positions and almost winning at Singapore. It's a very tight grid, and it does make you think, if you're coming into this, say from F3, or if you're dropping down from F1, you might think, oh yeah, I can easily dominate this. It is not easy, and I think that just adds to the amazement of what Sean has been able to do. On the previous lap, Blizzard trying to hunt down Casper went wide through the corner, just coming onto the back straight, which is why he wasn't able to get a run. But this time around, he's got closer onto Casper, but Casper's got so much more straight line speed compared to the Brit running in that Renault car as things stand. And with Lee Findlay about just under 1.2 seconds, or just over, sorry, 1.3 seconds now to Casper. If he gets into DRS, Casper's going to find himself in a bit more of a comfortable position as well. So nothing's really going Blizzard's way. He's finding that these tyres are at their peak at the moment. He's not able to get a clean run on Casper, and if he makes a single mistake, Sean will overtake him, and I dare say Sean will have a fair run at Casper as well. We both knew that Sean would be the man to watch out for at the start of this race. We made our predictions, which is why we had the gentleman's agreement. But the curse of Andy has struck, and Nico has, of course, DNF'd, as we mentioned, making it 12-6, and it's almost a double punishment really for poor old Andy. But Blizzard is getting closer and closer onto Casper. I'm surprised. I'm not sure about you. I'm surprised he didn't go for a lunge there.
Yeah, he didn't do. He seems to be quite good under the brakes sometimes at certain corners, does Blizzard. He just seems to close up really well. But himself with a DRS range of Lee Findlay, so that's going to help the Toro Rosso down that back straight. Well, we're talking, we jumped out as well. We've seen Davidos get past Ayamotti, we've seen Keith past Johan, and we've seen Karam and Vettel looking like they were getting pretty close one more time. So passes going all over the place, but this is your top 4 in the space of one picture here, and you don't need me to tell you the time, but it is 1.3 seconds between them, and Blizzard right in the slipstream of Casper here. But Casper now, as I say, has got that DRS to help him. He's now within 1 second of Lee Findlay. He's going to look to the inside, fancies chances there, locks nearly into the back of the McLaren there, and he manages to avoid any incident. He's trying his best. He wants that 3rd victory of the season. He knows he needs to win to have any chance. Sean, though, can sit there and enjoy the box office seat and watch everything unfold in front of him, because that's more than enough for the Ferrari driver as Casper comes right up. They're going past the tower there, right behind him as well. Davidos got himself out of that Red Bull sandwich, as I say, last lap, so he's now moved ahead. Ayamotti, Tactician, is now ahead of his teammate as well. But battling is up here at front. There's a lap car, which is the ghost car, the Joggler up ahead. That could distract the drivers. You never know, it has happened. Up towards turn 1, Lee Findlay, Casper, Blizzard, Sean into turn number 1. We're now more go on and on and on, all the way in, catching on the curve there, I think he did, as he sets the fastest lap of the race. But this all the way to the checkered flag. That mistake from Blizzard is off the back of Toro Rosso slightly. It'll be interesting to see what he can do. He's actually looking really close. Sean's right behind on Blizzard as well, so we could see a double overtake coming up in just a moment's time. It'll be interesting to see. They're all line astern through the left-hander, and now the DRS will come into effect for all of the drivers behind Lee Findlay. He's not going to have DRS, obviously. Here goes Casper, goes to the inside of Lee Findlay. This should be an easy move for the Toro, so he's got to move on. Blizzard going to go late on the brakes and try off the inside of Casper as well. He doesn't do so. Lee Findlay drops 2 places in the space of the corner. John's going to try and go around the from now into this tricky infield. Back out for now, sneaks the inside and takes over P3. Lee Findlay would expect to be in pit lane before long. He's done 16 laps on those tyres, having raced in 18th position, and I'd expect possibly even this lap now, because I imagine those tyres are off the cliff. He's going to try one more lap, it looks like, but the top 3 now the battle, and that now put Casper in the position where he has no DRS assistance to help him defend against Blizzard, and Blizzard is looking pretty feisty Be interested to see these chances down more time.
Yeah, great racing there. Blizzard seemingly, as you mentioned earlier, fantastic on the brakes, and he's done so well to avoid running into Casper. The warning could be that he got maybe a warning on the corner cutting, which is a little bit questionable from him. Sean done very well as well as they come through trying to get past Lee Findlay. Lee Findlay lost the rear end and stayed static in the central part of the long left-hander before the grandstand, and Sean just breezed past him. Other drivers should see a little quick shake of the wheel, and no, not Sean. He just glided that wheel. He knew what he was doing, and he just got up the inside of Lee Findlay nicely. Blizzard hunting down Casper, but it looks like Casper's so good on the exit, the corners, and down the down the back straight and the start finish straight respectively. But Blizzard hasn't got a chance. He needed them back markers to go for a late lunge. He needs to try and surprise Casper. He had a chance heading into turn 1 earlier, which we saw, and he didn't go for it. And I think that's what Blizzard needs to do. He needs to get his elbows out, and he needs to take a risky manoeuvre. Otherwise, he's just not going to get a chance at Casper, because down that back straight, Casper gets such a superior exit out of the corner onto that back straight, and as he breaks into the corner, and he's a good 3 tenths behind him, and he just cannot get close enough. And you'll see here through this middle sector how superior Blizzard is. It's because Casper is clearly set up for the straights, which is working fantastically for his defensive ability. You can't overtake through corners and through these long cornering, especially through the S section, the final section. If you can't overtake down the straight, how are you going to get past? Blizzard is closer than ever through this section here into the first corner. If I was him, I'd go for a lunge. Look how close they are under braking. It's much closer than the back straight. So Blizzard, if I was him, I'd take the manoeuvre and I'd go for it. Lee Findlay pitting on lap 18 as well, so too Ian Motti. This is not the greatest inclination for the drivers who are currently out on track. Them tyres lasted 18 laps. Many of them have got, well, 6 laps left in their tyres. Cherry 2 Pie, for example, 7 laps for Casper, and then Blizzard 8, Sean 8. Them two should just about be okay. Not really many laps to go. It's going to be tight. They're going to have to start managing their tyres. With Blizzard, Sean and Casper are all battling here and wearing out their tyres, with Cherry 2 Pie and the oldest tactician. I mean, what the scenes would be for him if he could get close enough. Sean is close onto Blizzard as they head down the back straight. A quick AI switch there for Blizzard. Here comes Sean up the inside. He's going to have to try and go for the manoeuvre. Blizzard is on Casper as well. Sean up the inside, and Casper is now going to be having a little bit of breathing room as these two squabble it out. The Renault and Ferrari side by side, and Sean has to slot in behind Blizzard. Great defensive manoeuvre. Here comes Sean, round the outside he goes. He maybe looked for the inside, but Blizzard cut him off and defended bravely and valiantly. But Sean is letting Blizzard know that if you don't get a move on, I'm going to force you, and I'm going to get a move on for you. He has got the great ability there from Sean. He crossed that track more times than Kieran Trippier on down the right wing, but unlike Kieran Trippier, these were successful crossings of the track there from Sean. A great little squabble between these two, and this is far from over. Lap 20 of 28. It's getting tight out there.
You just love a spot. They're shot right up the inside, really late in the brakes there. Where is the Renault? It couldn't pick up the inside, but Sean, the late braking lunges, has managed to take P2. Big C in the chat says Sean will make a dive. He's on the second one, paid off. Second position. It was really late in the brake. Got it slowed down into the apex in the plenty of time. Mark Ferrari there, stopped the Renault from able to get a good run out of the corner, and that's P2 for Sean. He wants to win this championship with victory on the road. Lap 20 of 28, as you say. If you are watching along, dropping your driver of the day down below as we get into this race behind Dawson Tactician. Have been having a little bit of a battle. Karam and Racer are still fighting it out, but it's hard to lead this lead battle because this is for the race victory. This is championship honours as well. And the thing is as well, Blizzard, as you say, I'm surprised he's not gone for a bit of a lunge, being that good in the brakes, because he's got nothing to lose. He's not in a championship battle, having joined halfway through. Sean and Casper obviously are. Sean could win it here. Casper needs to win and hope Sean drops out of the podium placing. So it's quite weird to see him not taking a chance. Maybe he just doesn't want to get involved up in an incident, wants to avoid obviously getting any damage, but he's got nothing to lose here, and obviously he could then take his first ever AOR victory, so we'll keep an eye on that. Davidos is still ahead of Tactician at the moment. Lee Findlay came back out in 9th position on super soft tyres. Meanwhile, Karam and Vettel Racer are still fighting over 11th and 12th. The back of the field, that battle's been going on. This battle has at the front of the order, and Casper's doing a brilliant job at the moment. As you say, it looks like that car is set up much more for high speed over down the straights, because he seems to just take off like an absolute rocket out of the left-hander onto that back straight, and it just does enough for him with the battery to stay ahead and keep ahead of Sean as they come through this section. Beautiful overhead shot there from the helicopter as they come down towards what I believe is, if I remember rightly, is turn number 10 on the track. Vettel Racer has just gone ahead of Ayamoto. We've got yellow flag. Karam is out of the race, so they've obviously had the contact. That's dropped Karam out of the race with the battle for the lead pair, and Sean is gaining ever closer. That camera angle's terrible. Does he fancy a lunge into the first turn here? Backs out of it and doesn't think to go ahead. Not the greatest of camera angles, but we managed to stick with it, and Sean is right behind. It's Suzuka all over again between these two. They done it last week. Casper came out top that time. Sean up the inside, and he's going to help the inside now for the inside. Oh, I've said inside too many times, I didn't know what I was trying to say. But Sean trying up the inside. Casper held the move off. Ollie, take over now because I'm struggling.
Right, penalty watch. I'll quickly update you. All three of the top three have the exact same amount of penalties. All have a 3-second time penalty apiece, so there is no inclination that the penalties will come into effect here. Lap 22 of 28. Casper leads from Sean, but Sean is getting very, very leery. We mentioned about how it'd be perfect if he could get onto the podium so we could interview him. Well, he's going to be doing a fine job at the moment and looks set for that podium. Keep an eye on Blizzard, though, who has been keeping a close tab on these two, and if they do battle and squabble, you know that Blizzard is great on the brakes and can maybe take the opportunity to get that opportunistic moment and take advantage and get into the Leaders Grand Prix. He's probably ruined the chances that he had to get past Casper, and he didn't take. There were so many of them, but Casper, this is bragging rights. This is all about who can be the top dog in his last few rounds, and Casper, I think, really wants to stamp his authority and claim potentially for a championship push next season. But Sean is closer than Blizzard ever was through this corner, going down the back straight, and you can see the difference in pace. Sean has got Casper in sights, and he reels him in, whereas Blizzard seemingly never got close to him. Sean is much closer. He's hunting down Casper. Is he going to go for a late lunge? No, he does not. But we have seen Sean go for a manoeuvre through that long left hand and the very open one where you can take a multitude of different lines. Let's see what he does. He opens up Casper now. He's just going to squeeze him. I don't think he's going to go for a late lunge. No, he's thinking better of it, but he's definitely getting keen. And this is not a very long lap when you think about it, Andy. It does seem to go by in quite a quick flash. You've got that long back straight, and then after that, pretty much 3/4 of the track's done. It's such a sizable back straight. It's a very narrow and quick track, but such wide format of the tarmac. And look at Sean. He's so much later on the brakes. He's got so much confidence. Considering his tyres are just one lap fresher than Casper, he is showing signs that he wants this race victory, and Blizzard has now dwindled to 1 second behind. Here comes Sean later on the brakes up the inside of the Toro Rosso of Casper. They touch wheels, and it looks like Sean's going to get it done, and he has done. The provisional world champion has got past his rival and challenger in Casper, and he is well on his way to winning this championship in perfect style. He's gone from, I believe, in P12 to begin with to P1, and he is one step closer to completing his destiny and being crowned the Formula 2 world champion.
Definitely so. Great overtaking move up the inside late in the brakes again. He's made up 11 places from the start of this race, having started down in 12. So great stuff from him come through the field. We did. He's shown us completely up there, Ollie. We did expect him to be somewhere in that top 6, but he's gone, you know what, I'm going to put it into first position. So brilliant stuff there. Casper will try his best to try and get that move back and get first position from Sean's Ferrari, but we down the straight, he's going to need to do his best though. Lee Finley's up 10 places from starting in 8th position. Your biggest loser that's still on track is Johan, having started in 2nd, down in 7th at the moment, so not too great there from him. Lee Finley having a wee bit of a battle here with Kiski. I've been trying to jump through the order as much as I can when I see battles going on. Tactician and Davidos have been squabbling for a few laps as Lee finally gets by Kiski there. He's going to try and set his sights on those guys ahead, which is Davidos and Tactician. Cherry Tupai is pretty much running in no man's land at the moment. He's 6-7 seconds behind the lead free, but he is 5 seconds a clear of Tactician, so he's on for 4th position at the moment time. But Casper doesn't need to worry about Blizzard, who's dropped the tyres on that Renault have cried enough at the on there as Sean picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's his second. Be interesting. Blizzard just picked up his third, I believe, there. So does Casper only have 1 time penalty or 2? That could be an interesting point come the this race. But in terms of championship, if they finish first and second, it won't matter which order they're in, because that Ferrari will take the driver's crown and they will be crowned constructors champions as well, him and David, because they are easily outscoring the Salbas, which are running 13th, and basically non-running Joglar in 14th because he's no longer in control of that car. Here comes Casper down the back straight with DRS, not close enough to try a lunge up the inside into the left-hander. He backs out of it for now. We're going to have a quick look back at Davidos. He's got Lee Finlay behind him. He's trying to gain on Tactician. Kiski's in the back of there as well. Again, the midfield closing up towards the end of this race, but no moves at the moment from Davidos. But Lee is looking, he's straight up the inside. Oh, that would have been a late move. He manages to hold for now. Lee's going to try to switch back now as Davidos. It's a tighter line through here. Lee get power. He's got the softer tyre for soft pressure as well. Going to go side by side through this long right-hander, and like what Casper did earlier, but much sooner, Lee with a brilliant move round the outside of Davidos to take over 6th position. Some lovely race. Davidos would have made sure from the space, so he is a very fair driver, as we know. 25 of 28, Sean leads on his way to being crowned champion. Casper in second, doing everything he can to try and at least take the victory off of him tonight, so that he doesn't celebrate it with a 7th win of the season.
Yeah, quick penalty update for you, and I don't know how Sean's able to do this. He has 9 seconds worth of time penalties. Now that would dump him off the podium if it wasn't for the fact that Cherry 2Pi has 9 seconds. Has 6 seconds, and Blizzard now has 9 seconds as well. So Sean will be picking up P2 as things stand, because Casper is sticking to him like a vacuum cleaner. He's the Henry Hoover of Formula 2 here. Sean would much rather he win this Grand Prix, but unless he can pull out 6 seconds to Casper, who is sticking to him like a Gorilla Glue tub, he is really keeping close. And Casper's actually putting a bit of pressure on Sean, and that's what he needs to do. There's nothing he can do now. Sean's passed him, he's overtaken him. What he needs to do is put pressure on Sean and hope he makes a mistake. Could you imagine if Sean was put under pressure by Casper, maybe cause a little incident and crashes off? I mean, it could happen. It's most certainly not over. Lap 26 are about to enter of 28. We have three laps until we can all get the inevitable Twitter invasion from Sean. Expect TikToks and videos. He's probably going to get some bottles of wine out, and I'd imagine his dressing gown will be in full flow to the disarray of many Twitter followers. But lap 26 of 28, we're almost at the very beginning of the Sean reign here, and it could well be a very tough time for some of the drivers in the chat, but he's done an exceptional job starting P12, got himself up into P1. There's some good battles going on further down. We mentioned Davidos and Tactician squabbling. Lee Findlay obviously up into P5 as well. My pick, I mean it's been a successful season for people that have been picked by me. If you've been picked by Andy, you have a 99% chance of DNFing. So I mean it's really a poison chalice if you look at it that way. Further down the field, Johan in P9, we've mentioned about how he's at a dramatic drop-off, and for Davidos and Sean as well, it's all but about a matter of time until they're confirmed as Constructors Champions as well, with Vettel down in P12 and Joglar in 14th and not actually running. There are no points being picked up by the Salvers, and they are guaranteed to
Casper to the outside, sorry. Casper looking to the outside there, Sean, sorry to cut across you. Casper trying to get the move done on Sean into the braking zone at the end of the DRS straight, but unable to do so. And then he goes up the inside here through the tricky section. Sean's going to try and cut back and by side through the long right-hander. Sean's on the outside. He's going to hold his own through there, holds the position, cuts back in front. Brilliant racing from both of them one more time. Fantastic stuff. As you say, Lee Finley's moved up ahead of both Davidos and Tactician. Kiski's not far on the back of him either, and only me and you could manage to get Gorilla Glue, Henry Hoovers and Dysons into everything here as we're commentating along. Try and find another tier that manages to get you all of that into one evening's worth of entertainment. Karam's left the session, which is not going to make too much of an issue because he was already out of the race, having just retired a moment ago. 5th retirement off the race. Penultimate lap of the American Grand Prix, and we cut back quickly to Tactician trying to get past Davidos again, but Ferrari holding on at the meantime. Kiski's not too far off of him either, so that could be an interesting battle before the end. Blizzard trying to do his best to stay position. As you say, penalties should mean it's pretty safe. They've managed to pull pretty clear off the Renault, but I'm sure after the start of the season he had when he was in Canada, he take a yellow flag somewhere in sector 1 and 2. Interesting. It's Ayamote. There he is, just getting back onto the track. Lost it through the S's section, so not good for him. We jump back to Casper, trying one more time into the braking zone at the end of the long straight, but unable to do so once again. And he has to try one more time. He's got one more lap to try. Tactician on the back of Davidos. Is he going to make a late lunge up the inside, the pad runner? Nope, he thinks better off it. He knows he's got Kiski behind him as well, trying to make his way through. And these guys are going to battle their way through. Davidos and Tactician in a bit of a championship battle over what I believe is 4th and 5th place. So this is not just for fighting on the road, this is honours in the championship between they two as well. And Kiski fancies getting involved in this little game also, coming up to the back of him. But we go on to the final lap of the American Grand Prix, and it is Sean in the lead. And it's a Dutch 1-2, same as it was last week. Blizzard in 3rd, but this time it's role reversal at the moment. The Ferrari leads the Toro Rosso. Toro Rosso won last time out in Japan. It looks like it is going to be a race victory to go with the championship. We'll need to keep an eye on penalties though to see what goes on. Tactician has just put it up the inside of Davidos, parked it on the apex of turn number 1, and that's the Red Bull through. Kiski will now fancy his chances in the back of that Ferrari, which has been on the soft tyres for 22 laps now. It's a long time on those tyres. He was the first one to pit, remember, from the lead runners. Here we go down the back straight for the final time. Casper trying to close up on Sean. It looks like he's too far back. Even with DRS it's going to be a struggle. Draining the battery down, coming into the braking zone, but he's not close enough to have a go by the looks of it, and he's going to have to probably settle for second on the road. We'll see how penalties filter that one through. We'll quickly jump back to Johans off the track. Kiski's bumping with Jundu, who's out. Davidos is spinning sideways, unsure what's going on there. Absolute mayhem down the field. Jundu in the middle of the track minus his tyre, but we come back to the front here, and it is Sean coming across the line now. Penalties might take the victory away from him. Kiski drops out as well, all of that damage, but it's not going to make a difference as he comes through the corner. The final turn, he crosses the line to win on the road, and Sean is your F2 champion for season 16. He drops down to second as Casper takes the win on penalties, but Sean is your champion for season 16. He'll be absolutely delighted with that. That means Ferrari are Constructors' champions as well. Lee Finlay goes into 3rd place again on penalties as Blizzard and Cherry 2 Pie drop down. Tactician takes 5th, Blizzard 4th, Tactician 5th, Cherry in 6th. Johan in 7th, Davidos 8th after whatever went on in the last lap between him, Kiski and Jundu. All I seen was the Ferrari spinning back the right way. Jundu middle of the track minus a wheel, and Kiski off the track. Davidos in 8th place. Ayamote comes across to take 9th. Vettel Racer crosses the line in 10th position, but it all changes around due to penalties, and we'll see what goes on. Your winner of the race is Casper, but your world champion is Sean in the Ferrari, and it's a double championship victory as Ferrari are also Constructors' champions as well.
Yeah, there'll be donuts down in Maranello, and it's going to be a Tifosi celebration as Sean has finally completed his destiny and he has won the championship. It's a stylish way to win it. It's a shame he's not the man on the top step of the podium, but it is Casper who wins the Grand Prix with Lee Finlay in a surprising P3. I think we both expected Blizzard to get there, but after penalties being promoted. But the more important factor, of course, is the fact that in P2 is Sean your new world champion. Let's quickly run you through the race classifications one final time here in Texas for the Circuit of the Americas race circuit for the United States Grand Prix. It is Casper who makes it a 1-2 of the Dutchman. He goes into P1 with Sean in P2, Lee Findlay 3rd with Blizzard in 4th, Tactician holding position in 5th. It seems like everything went around him. In 5th, Cherry 2 Pie disappointed after starting on pole. He'll finish down in P6. Johan, another disappointing one for 1 and 2 on the grid. 6th and 7th isn't great. Pasty in P8, points for Pasty, will be trending worldwide on Twitter. Vettel in 9th, Davidos in 10th. rounding out the points and Constructors' Championship for Ferrari. Viamotti, Kiski, Jundu, Joglar, Karam, Ashbest, McGrady, Ruben and Nico rounding out the remainder of the positions there. It does quickly make what I've done, Andy, a little bit awkward, is the fact that I invited Blizzard and then he got dropped off. So if he does join, he's being sharply kicked. But we have also got Davidos here to join us.
What have I done?
You've won the Constructors' Championship, so that's why you're here. So you're going to sit there and you're going to be patient until I ask you a pointless question. But remember, get it trending worldwide. Hashtag points for Pasty. I wanted to see it #1 on Twitter. I want to see it #1 for worldwide. I want to see hashtag points for Pasty. Get it down below. Get it on Twitter. We're going to get it going, and it's going to be a memorable day. I would normally start with the man who won the race, Casper, but I'm going to be a bit cheeky here, and I'm going to start with the man who finished the day as a world champion, of course. We'll start with Davidos, who won the Constructors. Congratulations, Davidos. It's been a flawless drive and a flawless season.
Totally.
A great Constructors Championship. Some would say you've been the superior Ferrari driver.
Well, I've kind of been the Kieran Trippier of the team, but yeah, hasn't been ideal. But yeah, at least I've won something. Can't wait for the season to finish, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we'll now move on to the actual man we need to talk to. Sean, congratulations. It's been a long time coming. I think many of us, well, I say many of us, me and Andy have pretty much known you're going to be the man to take it with the H-Eagle, obviously not being able to make 2 races. And Casper stepped up valiantly and has done a fantastic job, back-to-back race victories. He's done a great job. But you are the world champion. You will be in the top class of AOR next season. Huge congratulations.
Huh? Am I world champion?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you not aware?
I thought I had to be ahead of Casper.
No, if Casper won, you could have finished as low as you had to be in the podium, basically. So being on the podium's more than enough, and you are world champion.
Oh.
Sean, you are world champion. I mean, this is perfect Twitter bait. I mean, the AOR guys aren't tweeting this out. He's literally just realised now. Congratulations, you're world champion.
Yeah, world champion. I mean, it is finally coming, and I'm gonna take this a moment. So, I had a quali ban, mastered by 2 pit lane reports. I got.
I guess I can leave. Good.
Wow.
Masterclass, David. So, I had a race ban in Hungary, and I still didn't think I would have changed my driving style, which I also didn't, and that maybe helped me to get me this world championship. And it was a hard-fought work what I had to do since I got that race ban. So I think on the tracks where it did matter, I got the points, I guess. So yeah, luckily my drunkenness on yesterday helped out. That was mine.
Have we lost Ollie? Seems to have disappeared.
No, I'm here. I switched the wrong button. I apologise. In all the excitement, I went out. I've just gone and got my signature Sean robe, of course, and I've got my TikTok open. I'm ready to get dancing. I've got the bottles of wine flowing. They'll be bubbly everywhere. And I mute my mic by accident. But I was quickly saying that it's a pretty remarkable stat that you have actually finished P6 or higher in every single Grand Prix this season. There's probably been the key factor in your consistency in winning this championship, and to win the Constructors and the Drivers' Championship in the same day is a pretty sizable feat.
Yeah, it's a pretty big thing, and I finished once outside the points. I have to say that, because it was in Germany where I lost my front wing and I got the L11, but I think the rest of the race, I think I pretty much got into the points actually, so that's for me first. And now to win on my full debut season, I got a championship. I mean, what do you want more?
Well, yeah, huge congratulations to you. I've just had a request from somebody to join the interview. As this is your coronation, I think you can guess. I reckon you can guess who wants to join. We've had a request from Cherry Two Pie to join the celebrations. He's a big fan of yours. Some would say he's your super fan.
Lovely.
Or if you'd like him to join that short call, but I'll let you figure that one out. But before we quickly go ask Casper, congratulations on a race victory. Another great showing. It was pretty flawless, apart from the little moments where Sean got past you. It was a pretty clean and consistent race. You didn't start on pole, your teammate did, but you done a great job today, and it's a back-to-back race victories, and it's one step closer to maybe a championship push next year.
Yeah, I'm very happy to get my second P1 in a row. Obviously, last time in Japan and now here in USA. I'm very happy. I started P4. Wasn't really happy with that. In practice, I was doing much faster lap times, but Cherry good ball, so I was very happy with that. So yeah, he could be a bit of a wingman for me, and he did his work. He let me through on the straight.
Oh, he called him a wingman. Andy.
I heard that. It'll be blown up on Twitter as well now.
He is not only just stolen Davidos's fire, he has just insulted Cherry Tupai. This is awful.
He took Davidos's fire and chucked Cherry under the bus.
Truly disappointed. Absolutely disappointed.
But yeah, I was managing the race at the front. I knew Sean had 6 seconds of time penalties, so yeah, I wasn't really fighting him too hard. So yeah, I was just managing my tires and keeping it consistent and clean and going to the end. So I knew I won the race before we even crossed the line.
Let's have a party!
Yeah, joining us, we've just had join as Casper's just described him, and this will be an exclusive for Cameron's ears. You were just described as the wingman to Casper, so congratulations. Congratulations on that.
Wingman of the year.
The wingman, Davidos will be disappointed.
I tried, Casper.
We'll quickly, Casper. I've got to ask you before we go back to we'll ask Lee Findlay as well. Quickly ask you, Casper. You've had a very successful second half of the season. If you are planning on racing next season, is your goal to be the champion of F2 or maybe even race in F1?
I hope I will be in F1. Not gonna lie, that's the aim for everyone, I think, here in F2. And yeah, if I'm in F2, I'm definitely going for the championship. I think I have the potential to do that. So yeah, hopefully it's going to be great.
Well, congratulations on the race victory. Now moving to Lee Findlay, who I don't think anyone really expected to get onto the podium. But I mean, Andy, we can confirm that somebody did pick him in the pre-race predictions, and it wasn't you. So one of us believed in you.
Yeah.
Congratulations on
I was
P3.
going to pick Lee, you know it.
You got past Blizzard, who picked up a rather large chunk of penalties, but another podium to your name, another solid performance.
Oh my god. I can't believe what I actually did to start right at the back. After Jundu blocked me in calling, which gave me wing damage, I thought, for goodness sake, Jundu, what are you doing? I honestly can't believe it. Honestly, I think it has to be my best drive of the season, because I was putting on some great moves like around the outside of Davidos and the long right-hander, and pulling off some clean moves as well. I know people have criticised my racecraft, like in PSL and all that, where I do stupid things, but I was putting on some really good moves. I was like, right, just go for moves where it's necessary, and I did that, and I am honestly, oh my god, I am so happy, and I think it's helping me a lot in the championship as well. Hopefully, I'm up to 4th now. So, I am really happy with that. I feel like I feel like you just run around. I feel like you just run 10 miles. That's probably the best drive I've ever done. I think so. I'm really happy with that.
Well, we do apologise if there was any over PG-18 stuff, because it did sound like Lee was mildly having a little gasm. So we do apologise if there was any inkling of a mild gasm, but it was an incredible performance from Lee, who picks up in P3. We have now also got Blizzard. Now, I did invite Blizzard before he got the penalties, but we're invited Blizzard, so we're having a big party here to celebrate Sean. It's his big coronation. Andy's loving it. Andy's doing all the maths. He's loving it. We're having a big party. There'll be robes flying everywhere. Blizzard, we'll go to you next. Yeah, whatever you drink. I'm not sure what the delicatessen in the Netherlands is. Probably Heineken and some spleef, I believe is what the kids call it. Some wagwan. We'll move to Blizzard. We'll move to Blizzard, who was very, very impressive today. You really did take it to Casper and Sean, but obviously the demise was the penalties in the end. How did you see that race?
I mean, there's only positives I can take from it, really, because I'd still finished higher than I generally expect myself to. It's just annoying that there wasn't contact on Sean's screen and it gave me damage on mine.
Well, it was a good performance from you, and I think me and Andy both been discussing how we knew you have got some pace in you. It's just about, I think you're still learning and adapting to the no assists in AOR, so it's going to be a long journey. But you showed some good pace today, and in the end, it was just down to penalties, which obviously can be ironed out. Well, thank you, Blizzard. That was.
I did warn you.
Congratulations.
If I can briefly interrupt.
No, you cannot.
Oh,
I have full control here. We will go back to you in a second. You'll get the final word. We'll finally move on to your best friend, Cherry Tupai, who did get pole position, but for the third time has not won the race after starting on pole. Cherry Tupai, the wingman for Casper. I want to quickly ask you about your race. You kind of, I wouldn't say bottled it, but you just really didn't get going. And there was that incident with McGrady that we also have to discuss.
Yeah, so I was on a quick lap in qualifying and I fueled for 2 because I messed up my one before. I came into the final corner and everyone just decides to queue up. So I had to do a second lap on my tyres and I had to use a bit of high and that jazz. So I got pole, which was alright. I didn't know how long my softs were going to go, so I had to pit 1 lap early. I saw Dowd go into the pits the lap before, so I just kind of trusted Dowd. I was like, if Dowd can go to the end, I can go to the end. I was basically dead by the end. McGrady, yeah. I don't know. We were side by side. I was kind of a bit ahead. I think I left enough room. I haven't seen his POV. I haven't looked back at mine, but I just got a tap on my rear end, and I just looked back and he was gone. Otherwise, a pretty boring race, trying to keep the penalties down and really trying to use a lot of lean and stuff to keep the tyres in check, because across the line was 76, so could have got a puncture at any point.
Well, congratulations.
And I'm not a wingman.
It is really going to be a battle between.
I thought about it. I thought about battling Sean, but I thought it was pretty Sean was going to win the title at some point, so there wasn't much point of battling it too hard. It was more important for me and Casper to do well in the constructors.
Thank you.
Hopefully we can get third.
I didn't like that dive though.
The
first time.
Wingmen should only really speak when they're spoken to, so please keep in tune. We're gonna talk to one of the superior.
Maybe me and Dowd will just be in F2 next year.
We're gonna talk. Just mute him, Andy. We don't need to hear from the wingman anymore. We'll go to one of the more superior drivers on the grid, a leader, a maverick. Sean, you'll get the final word on this session and this. I quickly want to ask you one final question, and then you can say thank you to your mum and all the road companies and all that, whichever your sponsors are, and all that. Yeah, of course. So it's been a pretty good week for you. Congratulations on your graduation, and of course now being a world champion in the constructors with your wingman, and yourself, of course, being the world champion. The final question I have for you here this evening is: are you ready for F1? Because you're going to be promoted and you're going to be battling with the big boys, and I mean, you might turn into a Davidos or a Cherry Tupai. You may be a wingman up there.
Nah, I'm just gonna be the same old me. So I'm just gonna do my own driving style. If they're not liking it, then be it. And I already made a decision with Big C, because everyone can know it. I'm gonna say it on stream. You know, Autumn's with his TikToks and everything, and I already told him that if I'm gonna get a podium in an F1 race, no matter what, I may or may not have to do his 50s.
Oh, for Christ's sake, no. Okay, well nobody wants that. So what we're gonna do is,
of course not.
nobody wants that, Sean. I don't think there's a demand in the market for that.
I'm
So
getting
what we're going to do is
blacklisted the last 3 races.
we're going to say a huge thank you to everyone who's shown up. It's been an uncharacteristic interview, but we have to do something special for Sean. We have to do something special for Sean on this big night. So thank you to Lee, Sean, Casper, the Wingman, and Blizzard for all coming here, and Davidos for his brief appearance as well. We now go to Andy, who will give us a roundup on the championship standings.
Anarchy in the chat box, let's just leave it at that. Right, so let me run you through things real quickly. Sean is the champion, it's 272 points, Casper on 197. There people might go, that's a 75 point gap with 75 points still available, but when you look at it on countbacks, even if Sean doesn't score in the next 3 races and Casper wins them all, they'll equal in 6 wins each, but Sean's got more second places, so you'd win it on countback, so it is over. Sean is the champion. Casper moves up into second place ahead of the H-Eagle, who's been missing the last 2 weeks. Lee Finley moves up ahead of Davidos into 4th, Davidos in 5th, Tactician in 6th place, but they are still separated by 10 points from Lee down to Tactician, so it's still very close for 4th position. In the Constructors, it's been pretty much a foregone conclusion for a long time. Ferrari now officially crowned Constructors champions, so congratulations again to Sean and to Davidos as well. 421 points. Second place Salba still on 249, but Toro Rosso are now on 246 points. They're only 3 behind Salba with 3 to go, which pleases both their drivers, as you can hear. McLaren on 4th place on 219, Red Bull on 203 in 5th, and everyone else is far behind that, so I've not even bothered to add them up. And just a quick shout out, because you were saying getting Jim Pasty trending worldwide as well, Ollie. By finishing in 8th and getting 4 points, he's doubled his points tally for the season as well, so I just want to point that one out also.
Points for Pasty. Get it trending. I want to see everyone here. I want Blizzard, Casper, Sean, Lee, Terry, everyone tweet hashtag points for Pasty. It's an incredible achievement.
He's now on 7 points, having only scored 3 beforehand, so there you go. But anyway, I'm going to round us up before anarchy descends everywhere all around this stream. Thank you very much to everyone for watching. Thank you very much to everyone for putting up with the issues that I've been having with the mic. I'll try to see if I can get it fixed, but it might be the end of the season before I can do anything. I'm trying my best. If you want to, though, you can start another hashtag get Andy a better mic. That would be a good one to do. But for myself, it's worth a try. But for myself, from Ollie, from everyone at AOR, all the drivers as well, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next week for the Mexican Grand Prix. Until then, take care of yourself and have a good evening. Ta-da.